like to start our Veterans Program. On behalf of Tioga American Legion and Auxiliary, we thank you for all being here today. Today was a special day. We honored a great person, and kind of want to talk about our Grand Marshal real quick. Each year, the American Legion gets to pick a Grand Marshal. This year, we chose a Legionnaire that has 60 plus years within the American Legion. He's an Army veteran, prominent citizen in the community. Plays a lot of music at the nursing home, him and his daughter, and great guy. Great father, great Legionnaire, great friend, Mr. Arlo Oberg. Please stand. I'll bring it to you. Oh, yeah. Anyway, you want to give me a hand real quick? Just to kind of I got this last one. Anyway, on behalf of the American Legion, it's our anthem of the United States. It's one of the good ones, people. Thank you again, Arlo. For the past year, the American Legion has raised a lot of money in the community, and it's our job. Well, one of our pillars in the Legion handbook is children and youth. So we like to give money back to schools for various schools for academics and athletics. This year we gave $74,000 back to the community. Our latest sponsor was we gave money to two young, bright individuals that went to Georgia for the National Youth Rodeo. And I want to introduce them. It's Wayne and his brother Colton. Ain't here today, but he's coming in on the golf cart. And reason being is part of the criteria to go down there was for them to decorate a golf cart. So they came to the Legion and asked for some ideas how we could honor North Dakota veterans. So we sat down, we met with them, we made some posters. We wanted to honor our World War II vet, Arnold Postevich, that's on this side, and a Medal of Honor winner, Theodore Roosevelt, on the other side. That's not the golf cart they had. I have pictures of the one they had, but it took first place. They both received $1,200 apiece from the Rodeo Association for that. So we thank him, and we love what we do. Thank you, man. Another big accomplishment we had this year was our baseball field is finally complete. If you haven't been down there, again, our baseball field is complete. The other day the scoreboard is up and running, so we have one game left. Hope everybody can come down next Wednesday and watch our Tioga Patriots. Some of the other stuff we did this summer is we honored Vietnam era vets. First time we've ever did that in Tioga. We had over 21 Vietnam era vets. Had a supper for them, a supper, and a proclamation, and a pen signed by the President of the United States. So, again, we thank you, Vietnam vets. Memorial Day, we had the honor of bringing Theodore Roosevelt from the park to speak at our Memorial Day program. Worked really well. We're going to try to invite him back next year for a community type presentation just like this. Next year is the all-school reunion. There's going to be a lot of veterans in town. And upcoming, we have our 4th annual car and bike show coming up at the Fall Festival. So get them out, get them shined up. It's only a month away, a month and a half. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here. I have a special poem that our post-service officer wants to come up and read, and it's about freedom. And I think it's appropriate that he shares that with you today.
This poem is called "Freedom Isn't Free" by Kelly Strong. I watched the flag pass by one day. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so tall, so proud. With hair cut square and eyes alert, he'd stand out in any crowd. I thought how many men like him had fallen through the years, how many died on foreign soil, how many mothers' tears, how many pilots' planes shot down, how many died at sea, how many foxholes were soldiers' graves. No, freedom is not free. I hear the sound of taps one night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times that taps had meant amen. When a flag had draped a coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the children, of the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of the sea of unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom is not free.
Thank you, Randy. Randy is our post-service officer, and he does a lot for the American Legion. Thank you. Before I turn it over to Peter here, just want to say the American Legion is proud to be in this community. We're proud of you. We're proud of our members. We're proud of our auxiliary. I'm going to turn it over to my Vice Commander, Peter Copeland, is going to do a presentation on
Symbols of freedom.
Symbols of freedom. So thank you for being here. I'll turn it over to Peter.
Let me readjust this mic for short people. Like I was saying earlier while I was doing some music, these pictures and banners up here have a lot to do with this, and we'll get to that later, a little bit later here in my presentation. Let me move some stuff around here. Don't need that anymore. But I'd like to get started with something I want you to sing along to, especially you younger guys in the crowd. An old familiar song that I hope you've learned. But you're a grand old flag. Everyone sing along with me, please. All right, ready? You're a grand old flag. You're a high-flying flag. And forever in peace may you reign. You're the emblem of the land I love, of the world, the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the this. Ready? All right, well, thank you everyone for coming to this Symbols of Freedom Gospel presentation. I'm Peter Copeland. I serve as Second Vice Commander with the American Legion here in Tioga, and it's such a privilege and pleasure to do so. And some of you might know me as the anthem guy because I've had the opportunity and privilege to sing the national anthem at many of our local sporting events. And I've sung at many American Legion events like today and Memorial Day. And I'm so excited to bring before you today to give a way to combine our faith and our patriotism. Now, I understand that everyone shares the faith of the courageous men and women who pioneered this country. But they could not have built this country without it, and we all get to benefit from it. They believed the principles of freedom and liberty were as inherent to the scriptures as they were inseparable from their faith. They believed God gave us the ability to think and to choose and work incredibly hard at great personal sacrifice to build a nation that embodied these principles. Now, we've got a few things to cover today, and I hope we learn something, but I also hope we have a lot of fun, as well as grow in our faith. This next song is a song I've actually really enjoyed for many years, but it's taken on a new meaning for me. Since about 6-7 years ago, I got to move to a beautiful, amazing, small Midwest town, and been part of several of our parades. It's full of patriotic imagery and a heartwarming message, so please enjoy.
Midwestern town, children form a parade with a flag bearer leading the way. There's farmers, teachers, the old and the young live together, their voices to say, I pledge my allegiance to the grand old flag and the promise of hope from sea to sea. Under God, one nation, undivided we will stand. Is packed with screaming fans. All the banners are flying, the color guards advance. Like a wave, silence moves through the sands. Where a child is hungry, when men have no homes, when the powerless are yearning to breathe free. May we fight for justice till there's justice for all, and because
That's not the end. This next song is another great song. And if you were around before, I sang a song called "The God on the Mountain." And some of you know the God on the mountain is the God in the valley. That's the same guy who wrote that song wrote this song. I had the privilege of meeting him, even shaking his hand. Unfortunately, we lost his son and him last year within like a month of each other. So, and he wrote many gospel songs. And I like the last song that I just did. It's kind of like the Pledge of Allegiance to music, and it's a very powerful, meaningful one for me. And it's especially that last verse was part of what motivated me to become a member of the military. And like I said, Mr. Tracy Dart, who's an odd man named Tracy, his son Stony Mountain Dart, wrote many gospel songs, and this one is just one of those many great songs he wrote, and I think you guys will enjoy it.
What does it mean to a man to see a flag waving high? He thinks of his blessed homeland and the men who had to die to preserve him the right to believe what he wants to and say what he wants to say. That's what the flag means to me today. What does it mean to a man to see an old rugged cross? He thinks of the God who gave his son to die for the souls of the lost, and they have the right to love him and serve him, and from sin be set free. That's what the cross means to someone like me. Thank God for the flag that gives me the right to worship the Lamb on the cross.
For many of us veterans, Jesus' gift of his life was a big factor in why we enlisted. I know it was for me. And as we have sought to follow his example, we could think of no better way than to follow his lead. As it says in the Bible, greater love has no man than this, and the man laid down his life for his friends. And Jesus even did it for his enemies. Right now, I want to take a moment just to speak to you. It's up close to my heart, because I don't want you to misunderstand what this next song is about and the message it's supposed to bring. And if this wind will get stop pulling my notes around. Because I'll be honest, as much as I love the song now, the first time I heard it, a couple of lyrics gave me pause, took me back. And I really don't want the experience to be ruined or the message to be lost. There's a couple of lines at the end that might make you feel like it's putting down some of our symbols of freedom for this great country. But it's not. I assure you. It simply holds the work of the cross in higher esteem. Because our great country is, and as meaningful as the symbols that stand for it are, Jesus, his work on the cross is greater and more meaningful. Because as so many people have contrasted, well, the soldier has died for your freedom. Jesus, and your physical well-being, Jesus has died for your soul and your spiritual well-being. And the Bible says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul? All the freedoms in the world and all the prosperity in the world does not matter if your soul is not redeemed. And that's all that's saying. That's all that means. In summary, the cross being greater does not diminish the flag or the Statue of Liberty and what they stand for, nor does it diminish the sacrifices made for them. And please let us remember that the flag, the statue, and yes, even the cross are just symbols. I mean, the cross is a very easily recognized symbol, but isn't it curious that's the symbol we picked to represent our religion? I'm not sure about you, but I don't think Jesus likes to be reminded about that particular symbol. Like our founding fathers, though, in a true act of defiance against evil, we have turned a symbol of death into a symbol of life, a symbol of despair into a symbol of hope. However, it's not the cross that we worship, because that would be idolatry to worship the object, but we do worship the man who gave his life on the cross. And so with that, please enjoy the next song.
Harbor stands a lady with a torch raised to the sky, and all who see her know she stands for liberty for you and me. I'm so proud to be called an American, to be named with the brave and the free. stand. So the cross liberates the soul. The cross is my statue of liberty. It was there that my soul was set free. Unashamed, I proclaim that your rugged cross is my statue of liberty.
What a message in that song. It's so great. But this next part, we're finally going to get to this stuff I think you'll enjoy. I'm going to try to bring a deeper meaning and understanding of our national anthem to you. But first, I'm going to try to give you just a few small details, and some of those details will be played out in these pictures. And in between them, I actually have a copy of the music for the Star Spangled Banner. Because some of you might not actually know this, especially the younger ones, but did you know the song we know as our national anthem is only the first verse of the Star Spangled Banner? And you know there are actually 4 verses. I first learned this myself in a hymnal called the All-American Church Hymnal that I sang out a lot growing up. And that's what this is, just those 2 pages, because I actually had a leader's version that was spiral bound, that's what the spiral bound. And I photocopied them, I put guitar chords in them and made them bigger so I could play them. But I got the song in between each picture if you want to come up later and look. Anyways, I'd like to break it down, some of the phrases and some of the older language used in the song. First, I want to share a few factoids I learned while researching for this presentation. As most of you know, Francis Scott Key wrote The Star Spangled Banner in September 1814 during the War of 1812 with England. The War of 1812 was still going on in 1814, let's get another name, right? But this is when England tried to recapture the American colonies after losing the Revolutionary War. And I actually learned something new while researching. Mr. Key was not held prisoner aboard a British ship during the bombardment of Baltimore and Fort McHenry, as I was previously informed. He was actually on board an American truce ship during the battle and glimpsed the devastation through a spyglass. He was a lawyer by profession and was sent with another lawyer named John S. Skinner for some urgent negotiations. So, while not captured by an enemy, he was certainly helpless to watch the battle unfold as he was not on a military ship. And this song actually tells a story about the events and what he saw that night. So I'd like you to listen to what Mr. Key had to say about the events that unfolded that evening and into the early morning. Please remember, this whole event happened overnight. Now the first line here, the first line here is a question. And while other questions are asked in the song, most of them are right here in the first verse. So here we go with the first line and question. It says, "Oh, say, can you see what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Oh, can't you see the sun has come up, or it's coming up, and the images we saw last night when the light was fading? Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight?" Now, that's only the first half of the question, but I think it's pretty obvious the broad stripes and stars were that on the flag waving through this fierce fight, which put them in jeopardy. And the second half of that question is, "O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming." Anybody know what a rampart is? It's a wall, just a wall. See, we need to know these things. You know, it's very poetic, but we have a serious lack of education that people don't know what some of this stuff is. I didn't know until I looked it up. And Once again, so over the battle walls, rampart, we watched as it was streaming in the last glimpses of twilight. And actually, this first picture here, that black and white photo, is the flag that was flying over Fort McHenry during this story. That is the Star Spangled Banner. And of course, they have a replica currently flying there. And then, of course, we have the cannons and everything else. But that's why it shows that picture. It's because it's the, I didn't even know that it was around long enough to have a photo taken of it. And I think it's amazing that there's photographic evidence of it. So, and moving on, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Rockets and bombs were exploding, and we could see by the light of those explosions and the fires that our flag was somehow, miraculously, still standing through the onslaught. And this last line, of course, is the last question of the verse. And it says, "Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?" And you see all four verses end in a similar manner. But this is the only one that is posed as a question. So I guess the thing to take away from this is that he's asking you a question. Does not this flag still wave triumphantly and majestically over the land of the free and the home of the brave? We move on to the second verse. "On the shores dimly seen, through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes." Can't you see dimly in the darkness, through the smoke and the mist, the enemy's arrogant host? That's what haughty means, arrogant, puffed up. And force, or host I should say, is just a fancy word for crowd, or force, the host of the army. And in dreaded silence, you see there's this heavy feeling of dread that night. And reposes means to reposition. That's what they were doing. They were repositioning themselves. And the next part, "What is that which the breeze, or the towering steep, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses?" The breeze is blowing hard over the high walls and the high hills. And half of it hides and half reveals what's going on over there where the cannons are firing. And now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines on the stream. Once again, we're reminded that it is early morning when these thoughts are coming to Mr. Key, as the very first rays of sunlight hit the water. And that's all that means when it says to shine on the stream. It's very poetic. And now the end, where he emphatically tells us what it is that he just saw. "'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh long may it wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." He's saying, oh, there it is. There's our flag, our symbol of freedom and hope. And on to the third verse. Now this requires a larger chunk to be read of the verse because it's a bigger statement. "And where is the band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and country, should leave us no more?" Excuse me. In this case, why don't we take it one phrase or statement at a time? And where is the band? Again, just a group or a gang. In this case, a band of soldiers who so vauntingly swore. Kind of vaunting, to puff up, to brag. We have, or to affirm. We have affirmatively sworn that we to defend the country. But they were also making a promise, because that's what swore means here. In the next part, we need two phrases here to make it a complete thought. That the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, excuse me, a home and country should leave us no more. War is chaos and destruction, and a battle is very confusing. I'm sure that just ask any combat that how hard it is to keep your thoughts in order on the battlefield. You see, we haven't had to face this next particular problem because we've been fortunate enough not to have a war on American soil in recent history. But the phrase, "a home and country should leave us no more," I spent a lot of time on this. There wasn't a lot of clarity, but through the culture at the time, I think it was trying to say that our home won't be violated anymore, and our country won't be threatened with destruction. It won't have to leave us by threat of invasion any longer, as long as we can win. And now, talking about the enemy here, saying, taught that, oh, sorry. And that's what they were promising. So the next line, their blood washed out their foul footsteps of pollution. Talking about the enemy here, saying that there's no reason for them to come here to try to recapture something that they lost. The blood of the enemy was washing out their own foulness in the path of destruction that they took. And this next line, I'd like to take a minute to talk about because it mentions the word slave. So before I go on, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. It was always wrong to own slaves, but it is something that happened in our history we cannot ignore. We need to take responsibility for our actions. But no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. This battle was so intense. Hired help and even the slaves could not hide from the absolute terror of the battle or even death. However, if you recall from the previous two verses, that early in the morning light they could see, and the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So now the fourth and final verse. Oh, thus be it, whenever free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation. From now on, wherever a free people stand in the way of those who would seek to destroy us and leave us empty, because that's what desolation means, it's emptiness. That they might be blessed with victory and peace. And that little line speaks for itself, so we go on. May the heaven-rescued land praise the power that has made and preserved us a nation. His faith really comes out in this one. And that while the honorable men of our armed forces were the ones laying down their life, it was the God that was giving the increase, and it was God who was spurring them on to victory. References in the Bible are like Psalms 21:31, 1 Corinthians 3:6. They did the work, but the Lord was the ultimate source of success. And before I read this next part, I'd like you to know that in this case, the word conquer does not mean to conquer territory. This means to conquer the enemy, because that's not what the war was. It wasn't like a territorial war. And it's about conquering our fears and sending the enemy back to where they came from. So then conquer we must, when our cause is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the strong finish, and the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave, or the land of the free and the home of the brave. Now today I hope we have actually all learned something and have a new appreciation for what was probably just an old song. But oh, it is so much more. But it should now tell us a story and maybe even open our eyes and our hearts to what people who are in battle go through. And it is amazing what one little song can do when you understand it. And yes, sometimes with older songs we have to look up things and information. Once again, the Bible coming in with the answer tells us to study to show thyself approved, a workman that need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. It really means to study for yourself. Look things up. You can't always have things handed to you. And with that, hopefully some new appreciation for the national anthem. And I thank you for coming today and supporting your veterans and liberty and independence. And thank you for coming. Don't forget to check these pictures out.
What happening? What for the do? What for the do? Terrible. Terrible. Just a little. Just on the
Yes, ma'am. Her uncle's very
Oh, did he? Well, I lost his daughter too, so I don't know. Daddy's here.
Looking nice and safe, but I have to picture the vacuum. Well, actually, what I would like to do is send it off. I actually got another But yeah, I couldn't do it. I did not. I think this is something
That's boss baby. Fix. There, girl, fix. Now I'm dead. Now I'm dead. Now I go 11-0. I'm gonna die. Of a broken arm?
It was your time.
Of a broken arm?
This is your time.
Noah!
It's just 19.
Nah.
You're not. The city's down there.
What does mom say? I'm dead. What does mom always say? Because I'm good and I'm good. Yeah.
We say.
No. No. Oh! Oh, it's kidnapping me! No, like, about what?
Guys, can we not use the word kidnap in public?
Nobody said kidnap.
It is kidnapping me!
Yeah, Noah, stop.
No, Noah!
Noah,
Stop!
Stop saying that! people. What? Really go on?
Recommend it. You have to do something. You have to perform. You have to do a good job.
Okay. Hey, Mom, sing a song. Somebody sing a song. No. No. Can somebody sing a song?
I was just asked to sing on stage.
You got fun, you damn bitch. Sing a song. Like, please sing what they're like jelly.
I don't know what to do with the sound system itself. That's all there. No, make.
I can do my dance. I can do my spring salad dance.
If they need it, I guess we'll bring my stuff back out. That's theirs. Technically, they have what they need. They're gonna need some attention.
There's strategies.
There's two over there. Oh, there's two over there.
And there's one right here.
Attention towards mine.
There's none. There's none. Why did they scratch our stage? Is that Miles coming out of his car? Why is he so scratch the stage? I'm not trash. Yeah, stop removing trash.
Yeah, she didn't make it very clear.
Okay.
Stop staying on it. Don't take it to the trash.
Can somebody get that bottle thrown away? I don't want to I have to do this guy fast. No, it's not mine, but
Yeah, something like that. This is the real thing. It's supposed to fly. Anyone about to fly, everybody jump out the same. Fly. Popping open. That was fire! And that's mine! Of course. It cried. I've been on the stage before. It just hired me for this. Before you, actually. Born in 1964. Mom. Look up and calling me and say. In a furrow. Mom, I have a thing. Mom, do you like my new airplane? I want to see how good my spider. Nobody touched that here.